Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest? Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And I tell you what, I'm kind of doing a little bit of something different tonight because the guy I've got on here tonight, we're actually auditioning for a position at Freedom Jam. And if you know, I help with this concert called Freedom Jam. And I've got this young guy on here. His name's Alejandro, and you may or may not have heard of him, but he's a bass player, and we had talked to him about doing something. So we're going to do something kind of a voice type of thing. So I'm going to turn my chair around, and he's going to play, and I'm going to see whether or not he fits into exactly what we're going to do. So Alejandro, I'm going to turn my chair around. You go ahead and play, and if I turn it back around, then we're going to take you, and if I don't, then I'll give you a critique, and, you know, we'll go from there, all right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Man, right. That's cool. I don't remember the last time I felt nerves, you know? That's all I got, man. That's all I got.
Well, man, I tell you, I'm sorry I didn't turn my chair around, but I was looking for something with a little bit more finesse and a little bit more stage time. I think you'd be all right. I think, you know, we might be able to.
I think that's the problem. Yeah, I didn't slap it enough. I think it's.
Oh man, that was great. Alejandro Medina III. If you know him, he is a class act bass player, and we're really super excited. We've already got him signed for Freedom Jam, so you don't have to worry about that. He's already coming on board, and we are trying to get all that lined up. But he's going to be doing a couple of special things for us at Freedom Jam, St. Louis, and Freedom Jam SEMO, I think is what we're calling this one, 2021. And so Alejandro, man, thanks for coming on tonight, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, man. I appreciate you having me. Really, it's cool. And we got a lot of mutual friends, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, it does. We were talking earlier about, you know, new music and a lot of new people coming out, you know, and new artists and stuff. And this is what Brian had to say about your performance. He says, maybe.
That's good. That's good.
But a lot of great music out there. And you and I, we kind of have the same heart when it comes to that, because we are both always looking at new independent artists and what they can do. And I really like that, just in the fact of what you're doing and it being in line with, you know, Before Nashville and what I do here. So, man, thank you for that, because like you said, you know, it takes somebody to kind of curate that stuff, and everybody wants the Kenny Chesneys and the Luke Bryans of the world, but, you know, we're looking for the ones that will open for the Kenny Chesneys and the Luke Bryans, and hopefully someday get to that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I love seeing what y'all are doing, man. Especially, that's one of my favorite things is working with the newer guys. So that guitar spin, I didn't have enough room. Otherwise I would have thrown it right here.
That's old Jason. Jason's a character, man.
Yeah. I think me and Jason are friends on the Facebook.
Yeah. Jason's pretty cool. I've known Jason for a few years. So, I mean, tell me about you growing up, how you got to where you are now. I mean, I know you didn't just, you know, come out the day you were born playing bass guitar, even though it does sound like it, but
thank you. I started young with an interest, right? So I remember when I was a little kid, me and my sister would get these little guitars. We would go down to the border every summer, every winter. Anytime we got a chance, we would go down to Mexico, and my grandma lived down there, and a whole bunch of aunts and uncles. And I remember being a little kid, and there was this little shop at the border. It was always the same little shop that we shopped at. And they had these little bitty guitars. And I remember doing concerts with my sister on the picnic table when I was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old, and singing "It's Raining, It's Pouring." You know what I mean? Whatever we knew, whatever lyrics we knew, whatever. But when I was about 13, I picked up the guitar at the church. My uncle, I was raised in a non-denominational Christian church in Waxahachie, Texas. And my tío Nolo, he was the first one to put a guitar in my hands. My mom and dad saw I kept like beating on the bench, like trying to hold the beat. And they were like, well, let's give this, kid an instrument. And about 13, I picked up on the guitar. And about 14, I started doing this like thing on Friday nights with a buddy of mine. And it was American church, and the guy that was there had done enough mission trips to Mexico that he knew Mexican music theory. So like music theory in Spanish isn't the same as it is in English. I learned do re mi system before I learned the ABC system, and the youth pastor at the church, Scott Cunningham, really, really great guy. He took a liking to me, and he was like, this is what you're doing, and this is what we call it. And I started teaching me how to do it in English. You know what I mean? Right. So since I was a kid, that's where the passion started, and I just kept doing it. It started at the church, and just kind of kept growing from there.
Wow, man, that's cool. I can't imagine being 4 or 5 and you're sitting on a picnic table in Mexico playing guitar.
Oh yeah, we were jumping on that thing. Yeah,
but I mean that's cool. You get that passion. I love when people get a passion at a young age. I mean, I used to play drums. I haven't played in so long. I couldn't keep time at all. I'm so bad now, and I've got an electric set back here that I try to play on once in a while. And I was doing something the other day, and I'm going, golly,
yeah,
I would fire me as a drummer.
Oh man,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but it's just the passion. I mean, and I've had that passion for a long time. I mean, since I was probably about 13, I always wanted to play drums, and so was doing it. So it's just super cool. But I mean, you kind of have taken that, and made your passion into another passion that we'll talk about here in a little bit, with the company that you have, and even just playing, out and about and stuff. But who influenced you in a lot of your music?
I got a lot of influences. Myself first, honestly. Like I had to learn that at an older age, but inspiring through life, and we'll get to all that. But like all my musical influences is everything from Latin artists, from Celia Cruz to Jose Feliciano, to gospel artists, to I grew up on Merle and the Chili Peppers and the Killers, Maná, Duelo. Those are some a rock band in Spanish, and then a Tejano band, and Marcus Miller on the bass, and Bruno Mars, a little older, and Anderson .Paak with the latest stuff that they're coming out with. In college, I was listening to the production that the Justice League was doing with Rick Ross and the Maybach Music, and Kanye West, a big influence. But there's a really big cultural, what do you call it? A petri dish of just anything and everything, that felt good, basically for me is if it feels good, I like it,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm kind of that way. I mean, I love country music. I mean, that's kind of my thing, but I'll listen to rock and some rap, and some stuff like that. So I try to keep it eclectic because, to me, it's all the same goal. Music is made to make you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to reach people.
Yeah.
So
and those are, those are my influences coming up, because I wasn't exposed to as much country music as we know it now, at a younger age. But the gospel stuff is really where I got a foundation for what became the countryside now, right? Like, I didn't realize that One Day at a Time was a Merle Haggard song, you know, when I was a kid, but we were singing it at the church and different things like that. But, you know, as I got older, then I started getting into, I really like Josh Turner stuff and Dirks and Travis Tritt is probably one of my favorite. But yeah, the country stuff is something that when I fell in love with country, it was more so that I realized like, man, you know, these guys are writing some really good songs. Whereas like, I think coming up, it was all about the way it made me feel. As an older age, it started becoming about understanding what they were saying.
Right. And I mean, and you go beyond just playing. I mean, you write music and you produce music. I mean, you're dealing with all kinds of artists day in and day out. And so you've really been able to go a step further than what some folks have, you know?
Yeah. It's a cool thing. It's a cool thing. Like where my system of curating the talent that I like to listen to is not just, is this the next country artist of tomorrow, but I like to think of it as like, does their songs make me feel something? And when they do, it's like, well, let's put some music that feels really good on it. And, you know, I try to, you know, just kind of follow whatever feels good at that point. But yeah.
Right. Now, let me ask you this question, because we're talking about a lot of young artists, and Brian put up something about an artist. He's out of St. Louis, Mark Perkins, and Mark's a good guy, great artist, great talent, and he's just kind of one of those that, you know, he just somebody to work with him, and he would be very receptive. But if you had to pick, and I'm probably putting you on the spot, so if you can't go with the number I give you, then just kind of tell me. But like, if you had to pick 5 new artists that you've heard, say in the last 12 months with COVID and everything going on, the top 5 artists that you've either heard or worked with or would like to work with.
I get to work with. I'm working with some of my favorites right now. So. You know, I'm working with Carly Rogers and Biddy James, Bailey Scott Williams, Austin Bishop. You know, man, like really another one that was on my radar that I wanted to work with, I started writing with, was Julia Cole. We started writing some in the summer, or after the summer, I think in the fall. We started writing some songs, and then I went and played a couple shows with her, you know, this past couple weeks. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of working with the people that I really like am in tune with, as far as like just love what they got to say and love their voice. And I'll tell you the one that kind of came up the grew a lot as an artist, the fastest that I've seen is Biddy. He went from like not writing any songs like or singing, or I mean, I think he had just picked up the guitar about 8 months before he started working with me, and to see, you know, the level of artist that he became like in a year's time, from going from like never releasing anything to releasing songs is really, really cool. We're working on an album with him right now that I think you're really gonna like it. It's country, you know, it's country music, and like the philosophy behind it, because I always kind of have a target, right? I always have a target in mind, and the target for this one was and for the stuff that Carly's about to release too, literally like the target in mind was like, if we went to Cahoots in Lebanon, would it feel good? Would people be dancing to it? You know, and it's kind of a weird target, but I think taking it back a step from like, look how cool this is, to it just serves the, you know what I mean? It's like a Busch Light, you know, it's not like it's the best beer. It's not a Dos Equis, or it's not but it gets the job done, and nobody's ever complained about it, you know, and you get it cold enough, it tastes pretty good. So
it's a cold beer. That's all that matters.
It's a cold beer, man. It's a cold beer. It's a Busch Light. This isn't a Busch Light. This is seltzer water. I'm drinking seltzer water right now.
That's all right.
Yeah, I got hooked on these.
I've got Natty Light out in my refrigerator for the outside in the studio here. So.
Yeah, and hey, I'll tell you what, ice cold, you can't go wrong with that thing.
Yeah, it don't matter. But I mean, you mentioned some, you know, like Carly. Carly was part of Freedom Jam last year, and just wowed the audience. I mean, and this year we're excited because she's actually going to be coming back, and I think she's going to have a band with her, where she was just her and a guitar player last year.
Yeah, I should be playing with her. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And I didn't know for sure. I didn't know if that was going to work out. So that'd be awesome.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, to see you on stage, I mean, that's going to be just crazy. And then backing her up, and like I said, she is such a cool artist. Biddy, he's another one that I really like. I like what he's doing. Austin Bishop, he's a buddy of mine. Actually, I've got a ton of hats, and I've got one that Austin gave me. And as a matter of fact, I guess
he's got a nice hat. That green one, is it the green one? Oh yeah, and the koozie.
Yeah. I've got
that's my dude, man.
I have of his is the red, white, and blue one.
Oh, okay, the red, white, and blue one.
Yeah, this from a couple of years ago. He, I was over in Southern Illinois, and he actually came in and we talked and got to hang out a little bit. He was doing a show over there, and he's just I'm trying to get everything sorted out to where I can get him on the podcast as well. But it's like.
You need to get him, and you need to get Matt Wynn on there too. Matt Wynn's a bad dude too. Julia Call, she's incredible. Freaking Bryce Reed, that's another kid that's young, that's coming up, that's really, really talented. Him and my buddy Dayton. Bryce and Dayton are like acoustic guitar harmonica duo. It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's some. Who else am I thinking? Have you got Jordan Rayner? I did a music video with her recently. It's coming out.
I haven't got Jordan on yet.
Yeah, get her. She's bad. She's bad to the bone.
Yeah.
She's
another one I've talked
heck out of that guitar.
Yeah, she is phenomenal when it comes to guitar playing. I mean, I've known her for a couple of years, and Matt I've known for a couple of years. Matt and I are pretty close, and we haven't talked in a minute. I mean, it's been a while, but
Jessie Wilson, that's another one that's coming up. She's got a great voice, man. I don't know if you talked to Jessie. She's got a really good voice.
Jessie, what was her last name?
Wilson. She's got a really good voice too. Yeah. And then I wrote a song with my buddy Logan McGee and my friend Ashley Walls the other day. This is about to be pretty cool too. Who else? Zach Donegan. You know Zach Donegan?
I don't know him.
He's about to feature on the video album. Zach's a bad dude. He's got a great voice, man.
I'll have to check him out too.
Asher, I don't know if you've got Asher yet. Asher Cataldo's a good dude. He's got a good heart, man. That's a good kid.
Asher's another buddy of mine, and we were planning on it, and then we booked it on a Saturday, and he got a gig, and I told him, dude, if you're getting paid, go. I mean, you know,
always got to make that money, man. Always got to make that money.
But Asher and Austin, I met them about the same time, and a couple of great dudes. Hung out with them down in Paducah for a show down there last year. And Matt was there, and Asher and Austin and
Hayden Kaufman, another kid that's coming up. He's got a great voice.
I've heard of him. I've heard of him. And there's so many. I mean, there's just a ton of people. I got to show you what Brian said. Please don't take this to heart, okay? Because we don't need this happening.
If you need me to be the lead singer, come on with it. Let's go, Brian. You already know, man. I'm down with it. Look, I'm always down with the get down. Brian's a good dude, man.
Brian's got one of those. Yeah. Brian's a good solo voice. He sings solo. You can't hear him.
Oh yeah, he's a solo voice, man.
Yeah, he's really down. He's out there. But I mean, you know, you got so many irons in the fire, man. How do you keep up with it all? You got the production company. You do video. You do photography. You've got Third Lion, which is the production side, and kind of encompasses everything that you do. And then you got a band. You got your own little. I don't know if you could call it a band because it's you and another guy, a duo. Yeah. And it's kind of an eclectic type of music. You have to hear it to really appreciate it, but it's some great stuff. I got to tell you this. I was listening to it in my truck the other night, and I had my phone on Spotify and had it on. And dude, I was jamming. I'm telling you, I had it cranked up. I had people looking at me, staring when I'm going down the road. Yeah. And my wife gets in the truck and it starts playing because it automatically connects. And she's like, who is this? And I said, that's Alejandro and you know, his new stuff. And she goes, well, for what it is, I kind of like it.
Yeah, let's go.
But she's not, she's kind of she's more country. I try to listen to everything just to get an appreciation for it all. But man, she was just like, yeah, that I could deal with that.
Yeah.
So we listened to some of it. We were going somewhere not that far away, but we were enjoying it. And the album is called Change.
Mm-hmm.
Where and the band, I'll tell you, the group is actually, or the duo is called Color Storm.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to find out like where the name of the duo and the name of the album came from.
Yeah, I mean, well, the album's easy. I needed some change in my life, right? I mean,
right.
We got one song in there. It's like trying to make some change. I've been trying to make some change, break a bill. You know what I mean? I just needed to change some things up, and it's actually a title track. But yeah, so the album's easy. The album, I needed some change in my life. I every once in a while, you get stuck, and I was ready to kind of just keep moving forward. And the first album that we put out was called Forward, and that was like, it's literally just like experimental. Like there's an instrumental on there and all sorts of stuff. So Forward was moving forward, and then Change was like ready for change. And so, but the name of the band itself, Color Storm. So I used to read a lot of C.S. Lewis when I was growing up, and he always spelled the word color funny. He spelled it Colour. So it's kind of one of those things. It's just like he's a philosopher, right? He's a philosopher. Right. He's a Christian philosopher, and so I always liked reading his books when I was growing up, just to get a different perspective of he writes a lot about Christianity. He writes a lot, he wrote the fiction books. The biggest work of his is Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. And I used to read those, and it is inspiring. There's a lion in there, and there's that's kind of where the spelling of it came from. But as far as like the Color Storm, so I do photography, right? I do photography and videos. And one of the things that I noticed was that in my photography, the only way I'm able to do everything that I do at a high level is because it all kind of ties together. If I was if I didn't tie the music with the photos, it'd be hard to do both, right? So I started realizing when I was editing photos that I was looking for color harmonies. My blues and my oranges, my whatever was complementing each other. And I started, the way that I edit photos is literally the way that I hear harmony. Which sounds weird, but that's where it came from, was that I wanted my music to be tied to my visuals, and I wanted my visuals to be tied to my music because they are in my head. So that's where it came from.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, that's a neat kind of way to look at it. I like the way you say that. The way you listen to harmonies is by color. It's how does it color the chorus or the song, or how does it add to, that's what color does. It adds to a picture. It makes it pop. It puts it out there. And so that's really cool. I love that description. That's an amazing one. So what, where are you looking to go with Color Storm right now? I mean, what are the future plans for Color Storm?
We're gonna put out some more singles. We're gonna put out some more singles, and I'm hoping to put out, I think next month, me and Dale are gonna get in the studio, and not next month. We'll get in the studio before that, but we should be like locking down some singles by next month, and what I'm hoping is to put out singles for maybe about half a year. It's just a little longer than I want to, but I really want to focus on just locking in what it is that we're trying to do. And then I think about a year from now, or another 6 months after that, I want to put out just as much music as possible, right? So we're looking at online releases for now, and visuals, more music videos, more music, and trying to have a consistent presence, right? And then start looking at playing out with some of that stuff. But I wanna really just like focus on creating. I want to create. When you're playing as many shows as I was playing the past 4 years, I didn't create a lot. I didn't create a lot. So I'm kind of still enjoying the freedom of just making things, right? So I think we're going to create a little bit longer and really just like, lock into that and tune into it. and then once there's a demand for it, play some more shows. Maybe we'll probably do something before that,
Right.
But yeah, I really want to focus on the studio and some visuals right now, and then just take it and tour it.
Right. And so, I mean, you said you're looking to take it out and go on tour. Have you been able to do anything so far as shows go, or is that still just a little bit down the line until you tweak it? Or
we started it when COVID started, so
Oh.
we literally started Color Storm. Like, I think it was like the month after. I mean, it was or I had put something out before Color Storm was a duo. It was just me. I was just making stuff, and then we ended up locking it down, and Asher is on some of that early stuff, on the floor stuff, and then my friend Becca Ray and Bryce and Dayton, and there's like that first album was literally just like a petri dish of sound. It's just, there's everything from instrumental to pop to country song to, there's everything on there, and so the earliest form of it was literally just creating, and then the second form of it was more locked in. Me and Dale kind of found a sound that we liked, and kind of tuned into it. But the next stuff that's coming is even more locked in, where the next stuff that's coming is more almost along the Cologne lines, but
right.
Even a little more, I think, easy listening / I don't know. It's some cool stuff. I'm excited about the new stuff that we're working on right now too.
Well, I mean, I know from the stuff that I've heard, and like I said, I mean, I've listened to quite a bit of it. I mean, I have a 30-minute drive to work every day, and so I put you guys on and been listening and stuff. And there's a lot of musical influence in that. I mean, there's like there's some R&B stuff, there's rap, there's country, there's some Latin and pop. I mean, there's so much, and it's just all put together so well that if you had to label it, what would you call it?
I guess that's a real question, man. If I had to label, what I call it, it's I think it's I mean, the best way that I can lock it down is it's a pop, hip hop, electronic, country hybrid.
Okay.
And so there's and Latin in there too.
Right.
I don't know. It's just me. I don't know. It's
right.
It's just us.
That's actually what I was waiting on you to say. It's just us, it's Color Storm. That's all I can. That's the way I can label it.
Yeah.
But it is really good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know with Color Storm, you just with Change or no Cologne. Gosh, I'm getting all this stuff. Too many C's in there. It's throwing me off. With Cologne, you just released the video today.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, today just released it.
And I got to see a little bit of it before today, and then the song itself. You've also got a remix version of it that's out with DL Productions.
DL Productions, yeah. And man, he's talented too. Yeah.
I mean, if you go and listen to it, you can listen to either the original or the remix, and they both sound great. I mean, the remixer's not a lot of change as far as the structure of the song. It's mostly like there's some early lyrical stuff that's not in the actual release and that kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But it's
a dance mix, it's I think like it's intended to be a summer dance anthem,
right.
Because when he heard it, he was like, man, I love this song. Can I play with it? Yeah, like go ahead, you know what I mean? He sent it to me. He sent it to me and Dale, and I mean, we just loved it. We loved it. So it's like, let's put it out. And it's cool because the remix came after the album and it came before the music video for the original track. But I don't know. We just kind of do stuff. It feels good. I don't know.
Hey, you put it out when I think sometimes people think that there's a timeline on a lot of that stuff where there's really not. I mean, you just put it out when you feel like it's ready to come out.
Yeah.
You know, there are some things you kind of want to set at a certain point, you know, like it's, like you said, it's kind of a dance mix. It's a good, like summer type feel of a song. So that's a good time to release it as we're getting into summer here in a couple of weeks, you know, the unofficial start of summer and things like that. So, I mean, and quite honestly, I can see this being played at a lot of backyard parties and a lot of bonfires and even concerts. I mean, you know, filler between, you know, the shows and stuff would change out. And as long as you got somebody that knows what they're doing and knows how to put it in there. But it's really good stuff. As a matter of fact, we're going to play it real quick. I'm going to let folks do this. And again, this is Color Storm. The album's called Change. The song is Cologne. And it took me a minute, and we'll talk about the backstory of the song here in a sec. But just have to give a shout out to our sponsor, Go Tuners. Please go check them out. GoGoTuners.com. Started by musicians, for musicians. They've got some great tuners, great technology that's called green you're in, red you're out. Even somebody that, you know, knows that some guitars have 6, some strings, some have 12, some have 4. That's about the most I know about a guitar. But I can tune a guitar with this because it tells me when I'm in tune. So go check them out, gogotuners.com. This is Cologne. It's from the band Color Storm. It's off the album Change. Go check them out on the streaming platforms. This is Before Nashville.
I ain't one for explanations, I need grace and I need patience. When I say it's complicated, well, it's probably cause I made it. I know people that don't know me, been acting like I'm famous. If that's the case, I'm elated. Either way, I gotta break it down. If you love me, say it now, I do, but I can't wait around. This baggage got me weighing down, this plane, it won't delay. I'm out, leveling the playing grounds. I know I can't stay around, I'll take the couch, get somebody else to pay the cable now, please. Why you always acting on pristine? I know I ain't perfect, but you got a similar disease. You've been kinda distant, are you still in quarantine? Why you being extra? You ain't gotta order the Supreme. Now I touch down, find myself in another time zone. Don't you bother calling, I won't even pick up my phone. You can keep my t-shirt, honestly, you got the size wrong. Put it on, I'm there when the lights out. Yeah, I got some numbers in my phone. I'ma have a bottle gone with a pocket full of memories. I already sprayed too much cologne, trying to cover up my wrongs. I don't need that type of energy. And I can't tell what tomorrow holds, but you know me well, so you ought to know. I'ma do my own thing, I'll do it alone. And you won't know I'm gone, cause you still smell my cologne, girl. Okay, I'm off for second chances, but I'm over the romantics. I say I can manage, then you act like you the one that's damaged. You going through the pictures, but I'm through with being candid. You can keep them, see my Insta, and I knew that you were panicked. These unfamiliar faces, these two familiar places, say you needed space, so I just left the planet to be gracious. Now you want me back, but I just ran out of patience. You a triple shot espresso, I'm so over being basic. Don't you wait up for me, I don't wanna hear excuses. You might get the message if you listen to the music. Yeah, I know you miss me if you say you don't, you foolish. I already left some Gucci on your pillow just to prove it. Yeah, I got some numbers in my phone. I'ma have a bottle gone with a pocket full of memories. I already sprayed too much cologne, trying to cover up my wrongs. I don't need that type of energy. And I can't tell what tomorrow holds, but you know me well, so you ought to know. I'ma do my own thing, I'll do it alone. And you won't know I'm gone, cause you still smell my cologne, girl. Yeah, I got some numbers in my phone. I'ma have a bottle gone with a pocket full of memories. I already sprayed too much cologne, trying to cover up my wrongs. I don't need that type of energy. And I can't tell what tomorrow holds, but you know me well, so you ought to know. I'ma do my own thing, I'll do it alone. And you won't know I'm gone, cause you still smell my cologne, girl.
And that is Color Storm. The song is called Cologne. It's from the album Change. Go buy the album. just go
Let's
down
go.
and buy the album.
Yeah, let's go.
Don't even mess with the single. Not that the single is great. The whole album is amazing. Man, you know? I love that song. I mean, it's
thank you, man. Thank you.
It you know, some people may think it's a little out of my wheelhouse if they know me, but it's still, I mean, the groove of it is just something about it, you know, the backstory. I mean, the song, when you listen to the story, it's talking about, this is what I'm hearing. So I'm going to let you chime in and change my way of thinking, but it's a breakup song. You know, is what it's sounding to me like. There's been a kind of a, hey, I'm done. I'm over it. It's, you know, I'm leaving you with just thoughts of me. And that's kind of the way I take it to go.
Yeah. Yeah. You still smell my cologne, you know, right. and it's about, you know, the breakup. Yeah. But it's also about, being good. You know, it's kind of the best way, you know, when me and Dale were in the writing process, that's kind of like the best, because, you know, when you're writing with someone else, you got to kind of meet in the middle, right? You got to it's got to make sense to both of y'all. And that's kind of where we met up I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm good, you know, and it's a powerful thing. I think, you know, for whenever you do, you know, fall in love and all that junk and then, and it doesn't work out, the best feeling is when you find, you know, when you realize you're good.
Right.
Life's good and it moves forward and yeah, so that's you hit it right on the head.
Right. You're moving on and she's still sitting there going, where'd he go?
Yeah. You know, she's still smelling it.
So how did you and Dale get together?
We met through Asher. Asher hooked us up. He
I can see that.
Yeah. Asher raps too. He just don't rap. Yeah. You know, he doesn't do it as often, but yeah, we had met in the process with when we were putting together the Ford album and we were writing that song Crash. Crash is basically a country song. It's me, Becca Ray, Asher, and Dale. And on that one, I didn't sing a lyric. That was like literally like I let them take all the lyrical side of that one, and I just focused on the music. Because to me, you know, my writing process starts with the music, and we can get into that. But those guys are all lyricists, right? So we came together, and in the creative process, like I wanted the music to feel a certain way, and then they carried it, and then we all kind of went back and forth on what we wanted it to say and how we wanted it to say it. And once it was saying what we wanted it to, the bridge, the turnaround on that song was well, what about the way that, you know, the girl feels in that situation? Like, let's not try to write for her. What about, like, you know, Becca, what do you think, you know, is actually there? And then, like, you know, thinking about, you know, different things. But yeah, that's how me and Dale linked up. And then we just kind of, man, that guy just works, you know, he works hard. He's got a family. He's got 2 kids. He's got a wife, or he's about to have a wife. He's got a fiance, and he's got a full-time job, you know, at FedEx, and you know, he'll work the night shift and then just come by the studio, and he just kept showing up. I mean, the best way I could put it, George, he just kept showing up.
Either record him or figure out a way to get rid of him, man. It's like, we ain't going anywhere.
You know, if you're gonna keep hopping on my tracks, man, I'm gonna need you to do something. So he just became a permanent member, and it's cool. It's cool. It's really cool what it's become.
Right. I mean, he's so smooth with his delivery, even in that, you know, and you know, you were talking about Crash, and I think yesterday or Saturday maybe, I was in my truck, and I think that song popped up because I remember Becca's name being on there. Yeah. But I didn't remember seeing Asher on it, which if I'd known, I would have given him crap, you know, dude, why are you writing, you know, but no, I have heard some of his rap stuff, and he does a great job. I think his brother raps a lot too.
Does he, Ezra? I thought he sang more, but maybe he might have a brother, right? He's got so many brothers, man. He's got a ton.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's got, I remember because when I talked to him one time, I was interviewing him, and that was one of the things he said, that he and his brother kind of got into that, and he may sing, and they just kind of did it as a shoot off. But I mean, Asher's good in his own right. I mean, he's got some good stuff out there, and I love his music. And and you, I mean, you got so many artists that we know together. It's just unbelievable. I almost feel like that. You know, I need to either put you on my payroll or you put me on yours, one or the other.
We'll go back and forth. Keep the money between us. Yeah.
Because I mean, it's like just amazing, and you do so much now with the new album with Change. There's another song. Let me get my handy dandy. I know what's going to happen. It's going to start playing you is what's going to happen. So let me make sure I get my Bluetooth off.
Yeah.
Always You was another song that I really liked on there.
Yeah.
And that's like the first one that popped up for me when I first started listening. That was a really good song.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I haven't heard anything on there I didn't like. I'll be perfectly honest with you, you know?
Yeah. I appreciate it. I like that. I like that. It's good.
Yeah.
Always You is a special one. It was a special one. Yeah, that was, you know, I guess, I don't know. There was a lot of feelings going on at the time or something. I don't know.
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like there was a lot of something happening somewhere.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, with Crash, you kind of focused on the music, on the, you know, and I mean, you know, if people understand the music, of course, there's a lot of programming going on with the music and stuff like that. Because to get artists, to get in musicians in there with as much as you have happening in the music would be, first off, if you're paying them, it's going to be a small fortune. And secondly, it's going to be a lot of moving parts that you've got to try to get to work together.
Well, and there was COVID. I think that was a big part of it too. Is like I'm sitting at the house and I'm making music and I'm sitting here thinking like, man, I just want to get it out. You know, I just want to get it done. So I think there was a lot of that stuff that maybe I would have gone full band, because the first album is essentially full band. And I had a lot of really, really great players. I mean, you know, I had Chad Judd on guitar, Tyler Tomlinson on guitar. I had Bryce Reed played some. Dayton Olson plays some, Grady Saxman on the drums, myself on the bass, Stu Stapleton on the keys. And I mean, like literally like the musicians that participated and helped me out to see that vision come through. But that was, I mean, like that one, I was working on that one before COVID. And then when COVID hit, you know, I was at the house and I was blessed, to be honest with you. I had just closed on the house about 6 months before, you know, COVID happened. And so to have, I made a studio basement. I made a basement in my studio, and to have a place where I could be creative and just, you know, get away from the world for a little bit. And I mean, we had been back to back, you know, playing 168 shows with Riley like the year before. Right. And, you know, to have a little bit of time to be at the house and just, you know, it was like a creative cleanse, right? A creative, just like get it out. And there was a lot of music just waiting to come out. And so yeah, I think that was a big part of the two, like, you know, programming a lot of the drums and playing a lot of the guitars and bass myself. That's the other thing too. It sounds a lot of program, but there's a lot of that, you know, like the guitar licks, a lot of those are just me. All the acoustics are probably me. Right. You know, the electrics, I might have called Chad to throw. Chad played on Cologne. And he played on a couple more, but you know, Stu played on Broken Picture, the piano on that last song, that Broken Picture. That was my buddy Stu Stapleton. And Stu's just an incredible musician. I mean, like one of those, what do you call it? The ones that's like not right in the head. You know, he's right in the head, but you get what I'm saying.
Like a virtuoso tapping.
Yeah, virtuoso. Yeah. Stu's
all over it.
Yeah. So, you know, and that one, I mean, that Broken Picture song, that was a piano part that he had played, I think like 5 years ago. I'd asked him to like I was trying to make this beat, you know, I was like, wow, when I was still like, you know, doing a lot of writing. I don't really do a lot of like writing for fun as much anymore. It's more so like I'm trying to get something across. Right. But I had asked him to play this thing, and I had sat on that for like 5 years, never did anything with it because, you know, the artist that we were going to pitch it to or whatever just wasn't into it. And, you know, I couldn't see the vision that I had in my head. And, right. You know, sitting there and about 2 months into COVID and you know, I remembered about that track and I brought it up and I made a whole beat on it. Like I programmed the drums and the bass and like the everything like that. We wrote a whole song. We wrote a whole song around it. And I showed it to Stu. It was like, hey man, you remember this track? He's like, yeah, man, but come on, let me play that track. Because his sounds and his playing has gotten so much better. He won past it. He won past it. It sounds incredible, but yeah.
So do you find that a lot of times, you know, it sounded, and from what I'm hearing you say, you kind of maybe felt like you were a little stifled. Not that being out on the road and playing, like you said, 160 days a year. I mean, that's all fun, but your creativeness was kind of stifled because you were on the road so much and you didn't have the opportunity. And then you get home and COVID hits, and of course it shuts down the world. And so you've got all this time on your hands, and then it just gets to the point where it's constant. I mean, things are just constantly pouring out of you music wise.
Yeah, no, it played a big part. It played I think everything happens for a reason, right? And circumstances is, there's different ways to look at the world. You could plan, you could plan what you want to do with your music career, and you could sit there and pinpoint, I'm going to do this. But at the end of the day, there's two types of musicians. There's the guys that try to make it, and then there's people that just can't help it, and I think I fall in the second category of I can't get away from it if I wanted to. I make music because it's part. I mean, to be honest with you, George, I think a big part of the reason that I'm so into the music, right? Because country music is so lyrically driven, right? It's so lyrically driven, and then the music comes around that. It's about the song, right? But I think because the way that I was raised, my parents are both from Mexico. And so I was constantly at home, I'm hearing Spanish, and at school, I'm hearing English. And the only time that I didn't have to think about what language I was supposed to think in was when I was making music, right? So I think that's a big part of the reason that for me, creating starts with a tone. It'll start with a sound. It'll start with a beat, with a rhythm. It'll start with anything that just like, it makes sense to me. And I'm like, okay, that pinpoints what I'm trying to feel right now. And if it's a chord, if it's a note, whatever. And from there, is where the writing process evolves for me. And in my later days, I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, now that I have this music that's kind of in the vein of what I'm trying to convey, like, let me pinpoint the lyric at this point, so.
Right. So you kind of take a kind of, and from what, and I don't know much about, writing music. I'm not a songwriter, but from people I've talked to that write and stuff, you're almost like a mirror opposite of what Nashville normally is. They usually come in with a lyric, and then they'll start building the melody, and then they'll work up and they'll start getting more of the lyric and everything filled out, where you start with basically, to me, the foundation of the song is the music. That's where you get, that's where it's all going to start from anyway.
Yeah.
If I'm listening to a song on the radio, first thing I hear is the music. If that catches my ear, then I'm going to listen to the rest. If the music's not good, then I'm punching out and I'm going on to something else.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that, because of, I mean, just the way that Nashville's set up, you write some notes in your phone, right? And when you're writing a song, a lot of people have a list of notes in their phone, and they're like, man, this is going to be a great turn. This is going to be a great hook. This is going to be a great thing. And those are like amazing people that I love working with, because more often than not, they have to bring to the table the things that I don't, right? More often than not, they are more locked in on a verbal concept, whereas I'm more locked in on an emotion, if that makes sense. And then we kind of meet it in the middle. So I love working with lyricists because I mean, like, especially in Nashville, it's so lyrically driven and hooky and cleverness and creativeness. It's what I love about country music is that it's given me the opportunity to understand, like, this is everything that was missing from my music when I was younger, right? This is the things that I didn't know were missing, right? Because you do want to have strong lyrics, and that's where, working with someone like Dale, who is a poet, essentially, he's a rapper, right? But it essentially, like, it's kind of like the Color Storm project is more so conveying, using the hip hop style lyrically to convey a message, like you would you know, a lot of rap in itself is very grandiose and you know, it's braggadocious and things like that. Whereas we found a way to take the ability to rap and the cadences and things like that and the lyrical concepts and use those verbal flips and everything like that, like the way you would in a country song, right? So so even though lyrically, you know, even though musically it doesn't have the banjos and the mandolins yet, because it might one day. You know, that's the influence that comes from Nashville is more so the ability to say a story on whatever canvas, you know?
Right. And that's, you know, that's one of the, when you say that about saying a story, you know, so many people have said, you know, country music is about telling a story, and that's exactly what you do. Whereas with, you know, some of the other rap music, it is kind of grandiose. It's boastful. It's, you know, some of it is just, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to offend anybody, but, you know, it's just kind of like antisocial. Some of it is, you know.
Yeah, it's different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, one of my favorite musicians of all time is Kanye West. And I think he was one of the first to kind of do that thing where you can kind of tell where it's going. It's not, you know, it's I don't know. I think he's you know, if you were to talk about people that I would love to write a song with, it would be Kanye, because I think the way he was doing was so different, right? Like but yeah, I mean, a lot of hip hop is more so focused on that because that's been the style. And I have no bias to anything. I have no bias to country music, to hip hop, to anything, right? Like, to me, you know, I was raised on nothing but Mexican music, but I'm also not, like, I can't tell the same stories as someone that lives at the border. You know, I don't live that same life, so it'd be almost fake of me to try to just do Spanish, right? I got some songs that got Spanish coming in them, you know, like half and half. And I told my cousin, I was on the phone with my cousin today. She called me about the music video, and it was like one of the best conversations I had with anybody in a long time. My cousins say that, but yeah, we were talking about that, and I told her about some of the new stuff that I got coming out. And the best way I could explain it was, it's kind of like I think in my head, you know, like sometimes it makes sense to be in English, sometimes it makes sense to be in Spanish. And I think there's some people that can relate to it, and I think there's some people that are just going to think it sounds cool. So, yeah, but that's where we're at in life, right? That's where we're at. It's 2021, and we do have multiple cultures in the US, and we do have, you know, it's cool, man. I love seeing Miss Universe last night, Miss Mexico, right? Yeah. And that's like a week after the Canelo fight. It was a big day for my natives land, you know? Yeah.
And you were talking about, you know, the way that the way it comes to you in your mind, you know, it makes sense. And, you know, part of it makes sense in Spanish, part of it makes sense in English. Yeah. And the cool thing is the way you can combine those to get your point across, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't, to me, again, it goes back to, I'm not biased to anything. I'm like you. I'm a little more biased as far as musically to country music, but I like rock music, you know, I like classic rock music. I like, you know, anything. I don't care. I like old classic country. I like new country. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's music, it's music. But if you're taking two different cultures and you're putting them together to make a song, and that thing just explodes because of, like you said, you know, the climate of 2021 is you know, short of, and I hate to be cliche, but, you know, spreading the love. Yeah. So you do that, and you just join the two worlds that, you know, into the one world that you love, which is music. Yeah.
And hopefully if it works, and hopefully if it doesn't, I mean, well, it is what it is. I can't help it. But there's, man, I'll tell you one thing too, is recently I've been listening to, I think the most like played thing in my Spotify right now is probably either Josh Turner or Travis Tritt. And that's because, you know, before I get in the studio, like I said, I get goals in my head in the studio, right? And before I get in, I like to take inspiration from certain things. But you know, before we got in the studio a couple weeks ago for this new Bitty James album, man, I just had that stuff running through my spirit, and man, like, you know, lyrically great, but some of the stuff that they were doing with the bands, it really inspired me. You know, the way that they use the fiddles and the way that they use the steel and the way that they use, I think there's something even in country music now that is that I'm excited about, you know, getting to play with on some of these albums, where I feel like a lot of the stuff you hear now is basically rock records, and it's cool, but I'm excited about doing some stuff that people can dance to. I'm excited about doing some stuff that people can dance to and some stuff that feels good, and I'm glad that, you know, this stuff with Carly's got a cover that hasn't come out yet, but we're getting ready to put out, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've heard. But just you know, the fiddle in that and everything is gonna be. I don't know. I'm excited about it. I get excited about everything, you know, because I don't want you to think
that she told me, because I interviewed Carly about a year ago and she was working on a cover then, but was waiting to get approval.
Yeah, well, she got the approval. We haven't put it out yet, but we finalized it. Yeah, we finalized it, but I think she has a little surprise coming on it too, is the thing. So, but yeah, I'm really excited for y'all to hear that, and the new stuff that she's coming out with too is cool, man. I love everything equally. You know, I love music in general, and when it feels good, it feels good. You know,
right? You know, and one of the things that, you know, like we were talking about. Curating some of these newer artists and finding these newer artists. And one of the things that I've said, and I've started saying this to people outside of here, and I don't think I've ever said it in the podcast, but you know, there was a time where I wanted to be politically correct and I didn't want to hurt feelings, but you know what, if your feelings get hurt, it's probably because it's the truth.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these artists that are just as good, if not better, than what you're hearing on the radio.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Maybe not all of them, but I mean, not
all of them
on the radio, but a lot of the artists that I've heard in the last 6 months to a year, I mean, they could hold a candle to anybody, male, female, group, duo, whatever. And it's amazing. You know, I would not want to be working at a record label right now. And my sole job, somebody would tell me, you've got to go out and find X number of new acts to sign to our label, because I guarantee you it is not going to be easy by any stretch.
No, it's not easy. There's some really, really good, there's some really good talent. I mean, the thing about, you know, music in 2021 is the entry, what's it called? Cost of entry or point of access, or is different. You know, is different. Like it used to be that if you wanted to have your music distributed, you had to have it on at Walmart, and you had to have it at Target, and you had to, because it was CDs, right? And you had to, and so distribution, you had to work with people that had the network, that had the connections and things like that, right? And still so for some of the major players, right? But there was no TikTok back then. There was no, like, you know, there was no availability to the public to decide for themselves with it. So it's a different world we live in, you know, and so whereas before, where you had to pay $50,000 to make your album, or $100,000 or whatever it was, you know, whatever it cost the label, they would do it because they knew, well, you know, we're going to sell these albums, and what we sell is going to sell because someone's going to buy music, right? Someone's got to buy music, and now you don't have to buy music. The way you support your artist is literally by giving them your ear. And I mean, if you hear something that you like, you can listen to it. You have that freedom, right? And it's a different world. You know, DistroKid is a distribution company that charges $20 a month or $20 a year, and you can put out as many songs as you want. So, I mean, there's a couple things that go into play now. Is like, I mean, how much hustle do you have, and how much, you know, did you find a team that's going to help you? Did you find? It takes a lot. It takes a village. You know what I mean? I'd be ignorant to say that I do this third line thing by myself, because I don't. I got a lot of people that support, and I got a lot of people that, you know, that just by putting ears on something are helping me, right? Because I'm producing the records, I'm playing on the records, I'm producing the records, I'm mixing the records, and up until last week, I was mastering the records, and I still master some of them whenever it's within the artist budget, but
Right.
but it takes a village, and that's one of the things that I think you know, a lot of younger people that have a support system, that have, you know, the drive, that have access to, you know, well, access comes, I think, but really it's that hustle, and it's talent,
Right.
and it's desire, and it's tenacity, you know, and I think anybody that has those things is going to be successful, because you know, there's no barrier now, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
you don't have, now it's great, record deals are great for people, and they work great for a lot of people. You don't have to have them. There's artists like Russ, he's a rapper from Atlanta who just put out a song every week for 2.5 years, and now he makes $1 million a month, you know. So
Right.
it's yeah, it's a different world we live in, but it's exciting to see. I mean, I love it. I've always been driven by competition. Not always, but I am, especially in my nowadays.
Right.
I love the idea of you know, the biggest thing I think is that, you know, when you add value to the world through, you know, whether it's a good lyric, or whether it's a good song, or whether it's good music, or when you add value to the world, you know, through your art or through your work or whatever, it tends to be rewarded. And that's the world that we live in now, where, you know, if you continuously dedicate your life to something, and you sharpen your craft, and you're the best at it, it starts paying out, you know, it starts paying out. It took me a long time before I was, I mean, able to buy a house and make a studio from, you know, and do all the things that I wanted, but it took a long time, and I battled for a long time. And, you know, people don't know about the years that people don't know about the, you know, the times that I slept in my truck because, you know, I was trying to finish saving up a down payment, and the times that I was showering at the Planet Fitness after just going and killing my body at the gym and at the park, and just, you know, the cold showers, and the work that I had to do up here. But I think, you know, for anybody, that's the exciting thing, is that for you know, a first generation Mexican from, you know, both parents from a different country, you know, that just decided they were going to work hard to give me an opportunity that they never had. And for me to be able to put in the work and have the access to the potential, you know, it's the access to the potential is the thing. The fact that I know that there is a way, you know, is what's really exciting for me. And it's the American dream, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, and that's, you know, everything you said there is something that every artist that is looking to get into this industry needs to listen to over and over again. You know, a lot of them don't know the stories, you know. One of the best stories that I've ever heard about coming to Nashville, and I've yet to interview him, but I've heard him talk about this. I want to interview him, but it's Craig Campbell. And
what's his story?
Craig came to Nashville. When he left home, his mom gave him $25. So he gets to Nashville and he's got nothing. Doesn't have a place to stay. Doesn't have, you know, $25 is all he's got. And that was basically, you know, gas to get him there, which I think he grew up not real far from Nashville. But he slept in his car, just like you were saying, you know, you were sleeping in your truck. He slept in his car. He would go into Mexican restaurants. And you know, one of the things that everybody loves about Mexican restaurants, and they bring out the chips and the salsa, you know. So he'd go in, he'd sit down, they bring out chips and salsa. He'd order a glass of water. He'd eat chips and salsa, drink the water, and get up. He couldn't afford to buy food.
Man, yeah.
But he got a break playing keyboards in a band. And the name of who he played for escaped me. And I know that a friend of mine, if she's listening, she's going to text me and say, I've told you this story about him 100 times. She worked as Craig's publicist for a while, so she knows all.
Yeah.
But he got an opportunity to play keyboards, and this was for a 90s country artist. And Craig, I'm so sorry. I know he listens religiously.
Yeah.
He probably will be tonight.
Yeah.
But he'll chime in here in a minute. But and so he, it's all about paying your dues. There's other artists that have done that have, had to sleep in their car and this or that. And then there's some artists that kind of have that, I don't want to call it the silver spoon in their mouth, but they came into it.
Different opportunity.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. With a different opportunity. And that's great. But to me, which one's going to appreciate it more? I'm not going to say that somebody with a different opportunity doesn't appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. And they may appreciate it as much as somebody that has slept in their truck or showered at a Planet Fitness or gone in and eaten whatever freebies may be wherever, whatever restaurant they go into. But it just, that's the thing that I like to see, I've got friends that are artists that are real estate agents, they started off with that. They had a love for music, but they've been able to get themselves in a financial situation because quite honestly, like you said, it's expensive to do this. This industry is not cheap, on either side of, what you're doing, especially, with studios and things like that. I mean, I've got a modest little studio here, but I can tell you it was, it didn't come without some things. I mean, it's got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in the most of it that I've done myself.
Yeah.
But you got to appreciate what you have. And I think that, like I said, I think your story is one of those that people just need to listen to, and just what you were saying about the whole, there's a passion, I think, with some that are missing. I see as having an extreme passion for this, and not only your music, but others' music, like Biddy, like Asher, like Austin, Carly, some of these others that you've mentioned, that you've worked with, Jordan, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, I wrote down several, you talked about Bryce Reed and Dayton and Jesse Wilson and all these that you've worked with and that, and those are people that you show your passion through working with them and wanting them to be the best they can be. Yeah. And everything that Third Lion is about. Third Lion is one of these companies that is a multi-tier company. You're not just production. You're not just a recording studio. You're not just recording, producing, mixing, that kind of thing. You get into, doing the videos and taking pictures and things like that. And those are the kinds of things with your passion that show me, you're in it for more than one thing or another.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a life that you basically, you want to live.
And even the days that I don't,
right.
Can't get away from it.
Those days.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
We all have those days.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's just kind of wrapping things up. But, like I said, first off, I got to say this from my experience of working kind of with you over the past couple of months, because we just got into, bringing you on board Freedom Jam and that kind of thing. And I can tell folks right now, if you want to see a great opening to a show, and I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm not going to get into details of what you're going to do yet, because I want them to be surprised.
Come on.
It's a $30 ticket.
$30
for St. Louis, $25 if you're in Southeast Missouri and you want to go to the camp at Lake Wapapella. Both places are going to be amazing. They've got just awesome. But I mean, it's exciting of what's going to happen. And so you need to turn loose of some of that hard-earned cash. I mean, I know a lot of people are coming out right now. Jason Aldean just announced a tour. Dierks Bentley just announced a tour. There's a lot of big shows coming up. This is a show where you're going to hear artists that you're not going to hear on the radio every day. These are not like I said, they're not the Kenny Chesneys. They're not the Jason Aldeans. They're not the Luke Bryans, but they're the artists that may be opening for them and one day get to that point. And that's what I have to say with Alejandro and I, it's kind of a kindred spirit. That's what we'd like to see. We'd like to see all these artists get to where they're, selling out 50,000 at a stadium, or, 120,000 or whatever some of these stadiums ridiculously hold.
And a lot of them will. A lot of them will.
Yeah, I mean, and it's Brian cracks me up. He says, "Yeah, it's exciting. I'll be there and talking on stage." No, Brian, you've been cut off from on stage talking.
We're cutting
I don't
off.
know if you were told that or not, but you've been cut off.
Oh, that's funny. Sorry,
we
Brian.
voted that at the last meeting.
Oh man.
But no,
Brian's gonna be there. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it's going to be great. We're going to have a good time. Alejandro's going to be there. I'm super excited to know you were going to play with Carly. I can't wait to see that, because it's going to be a show. It will definitely be a show with the whole day. And I know Biddy is actually playing at one of the shows. I think I want to say he's at the camp.
What about my buddy Bailey Scott Williams? You got him out there?
Bailey, we don't have yet. We've got.
You got to get Bailey at some point, man. Bailey's about to be a state trooper. He's cool, man.
Yeah.
I think you like him.
He's the one that we had talked a little bit about, and you told me.
We're getting the studio next month.
On tonight, but I guess he was doing something or didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
But we got Biddy coming to Southeast Missouri. He's going to be doing an acoustic show actually at the camp.
Yeah.
So we've got some great artists on that show, man. I can't wait for you to see some of these people.
Yeah, man. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. And I love everything y'all are doing. I love y'all, giving people an opportunity. And here's the thing about, a $30 ticket, man. If people think about it this way, is if you go to a major show and all you do is pregame, so you don't have to buy as many in-game beers, all of a sudden you might have saved $30 off of 2 beers, right? So that's really what people got to do is manage their drinking budget better, right? You gotta crush a 30 in the parking lot. Now I'm playing.
That's right. But no, the good thing about it is, I mean, these are 12-hour shows. These are festival type shows. We're going all day long.
Yeah, come on.
And I mean, we're going to be rushing them through. We got a little bit of time between them to do some changeover, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be amazing. We've got some that are coming in, and I will tell you this: some of the artists we have coming in are going to be playing acoustic, but they sound just as good acoustic as they do with a full band.
Well, if you got everybody full band, your ears are going to hurt all day. You know what I mean? You got to have a couple to break it up. And some of these guys, man, like they like, so, man, I love hearing a good acoustic set where the mix is right, and all you could do is just listen to the lyric and take a break from the loud stuff. So when the loud stuff comes back, it's good, man. You got to have a little balance, right?
You have that balance in there, and you walk away feeling good about it. So we've got, like I said, we've got in 2 shows, we're going to have in the neighborhood of 25 to 26 artists.
Yeah.
So, and you can buy, quite honestly, you can go to both shows. You can buy one ticket for both shows, and you're not going to spend as much as you would if you went to a show at a big arena or something like that. You're spending just as much doing that.
You got to do both, right? You can't afford 2 arena shows, come to this one, do both.
Right, there you go.
Yeah.
You go to both of them, you got it made,
I'm excited.
But these are artists that you're not going to hear every day, but it's music that I guarantee you're going to wind up wanting to hear more of. A lot of them I've had on the show, and I think it would be, super great for, some of these other artists. I'm trying to get as many of them on as I can, but I've only got a limited number of hours in the day. And I know they do too. They're trying to do their craft, they're trying to play, they're trying to do, things like that. So, but I can tell you this: by the time Freedom Jam rolls around, I will probably have all the Freedom Jam artists on the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Plus some others too. We've had others on here too. Like I said, St. Louis, Lake Wapapello in Southeast Missouri. It's in Poplar Bluff, just about 25 miles north of the Arkansas state line. either show, come to both. The great thing is Alejandro's going to be at both of them.
Hey, I'm gonna be there. You know what I mean? Unless y'all don't like having a great time, and don't. If you hate having a great time and drinking a cold beer, I mean, just don't come. But otherwise, it's probably gonna be a good idea.
It'll be great, man. It'll be awesome. So, Alejandro, man, thanks for coming on tonight. It's been such a great time talking to you. I always enjoy just great conversation and great music. Check out Color Storm. Now, does Color Storm do you have your own website for them, or is it through Third Lion?
Still on Third Lion. The best thing to follow, I think the best thing to follow anything that we're doing with Color Storm and then some of the other artists that I'm working with, subscribe on the YouTube channel. So I got Third Lion YouTube, and if you subscribe on Third Lion YouTube, and every time, and if you go to the website too, I got an email list. So if you go to thirdlion.com and subscribe to the email list, I'm gonna start just like doing a blast every time we release anything, right? If it's Color Storm, if it's with Biddy, with Carly, with anybody that I'm working with, I'm going to just start doing an email blast. So I think those two things are probably the best way to follow our work. It's going to be on thirdlion.com and subscribe to the newsletter. And and on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button. Follow Third Lion. I'm always posting anything that we're doing. Follow Color Storm. Follow Dale's is Dapper Rapper Dan. Dale's personal is Dapper Rapper Dan on Instagram. And my personal, I'm gonna put out some original stuff that's just Alejandro Medina III as well. But that's not when I do that, it's not to get away from Color Storm. It's to explore a different avenue. I like exploring different things and just being creative in different ways. So look out for the Color Storm stuff. We're getting ready to put out some stuff. Look out for Alejandro Medina III, Dapper Rapper Dan. He's putting out some original stuff too. So we're kind of putting our things out, individually so that we can meet up in the middle for the big projects. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about a lot of the stuff that we got coming out.
Yeah. I mean, follow them on, they're on Instagram. They're all the socials. You could find them music, definitely on Spotify, Apple iTunes.
And it's spelled funny. COLOUR. Color Storm.
Yeah. Yep. It's COLOUR. And check them out. I mean, like I said, buy the album. Here's the thing, and you said this earlier, and I think it's a great thing. There's so many avenues people can put their stuff out. You don't have to pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and I'm going to kind of share some of my, I guess, lame thought processes for a second.
Come on.
I'm a big ZZ Top fan.
Yeah.
And I wanted an album. I wanted the Eliminator album, Sharp Dressed Man, Legs. I can't remember all the songs that got on. So I ordered that the other day and I get it in. And of course I put it on my credit card and it's $39.
Yeah.
And I'm going, what the heck did I just do? I could go on to Spotify, but the thing is I like ZZ Top. I want to support ZZ Top. Same thing with Alejandro. You like him, you want to support him, go buy the music. I mean, it's $7. Good grief. That's a lunch, know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
McDonald's, you get a value meal and it's $8 now, know,
or buy a t-shirt, if you want to support, if that's something you want to do, buy a t-shirt, on thirdlion.com. I got the Color Storm stuff and the Third Lion stuff. So it's a 2-for-1, right? But yeah, that's for any artist that you love. A great way to support them is buying the merch, buying the album, and any of those things, and just listening. But nah, George, I appreciate everything that you're doing for music, and I appreciate you having me on the show, man. It's an honor.
Hey man, it's been my honor. I tell you, I've followed you for quite a while, just from a previous life, so to speak, and and got to know a lot about you then. And so it was really cool whenever I got the opportunity to find out that you would actually be willing to come on. So I appreciate you. I thank you for your graciousness on that for sure. And I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Just
appreciate that,
and we'll keep listening. And you got something new coming out, always shoot me a message. I don't have a problem with bringing somebody back on,
Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. I appreciate it for real.
So check out Alejandro, Color Storm, Third Lion, everywhere. I mean, social media, on the streaming, everywhere you want to find them, you can find them right there. And we're going to be back on Thursday night. I've got Tara Townsend coming in on Thursday night as my guest, and another great artist that I'm super excited to talk to. We're actually we talked about Biddy, and I know I have him down, and I don't remember what night he was on. Actually, let me see here. We had a cross up, so we missed him. He was supposed to be on earlier this month, so we got to get that worked out and get him back on here. And well, actually, I think I know what happened there. That was a personal issue that I couldn't do that then. So I won't get into that detail because it's kind of rough for me. But I did talk to Biddy's brother. Biddy's song is called Tulane Road.
The one that just came out, Tennessee Tulane.
Yeah, Tennessee.
Yeah, we put out a music video for that. That's on Third Line YouTube too. The music video for that. Yeah,
well, I'll have to go check that out as soon as we get off here. Then, because
it's good.
And I got to get caught up with him. So, but man, again, thanks a lot, Alejandro. Next time you guys get something put out, shoot me a message. We'll get her done.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. I appreciate it. It.
All right, well, check them out, and again, be sure to follow them, subscribe, do the same thing on b4Nashville's YouTube channel. You can subscribe right there, and anytime we have a new podcast coming out, which is every Monday and Thursday night, then you'll know about it and you'll know who it is. We try to put up something to let you know. So until then, you guys take care, and we'll see you back on Thursday night.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, man.